organizers, eminent delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a privilege to stand here and speak on this sector which is so intimately linked to our ancient heritage, that is Ayurveda. The present session is on contribution of pharmaceutical industry for future of Ayurveda. Now it goes without saying that contribution of pharmaceutical industry is as critical to Ayurveda as the medicinal plants is to the pharmaceutical industry which supports Ayurveda system. And therefore, as a representative of the Department of Ayush, which has the responsibility of promoting Ayurveda among other Indian systems of medicine, I would like to share with you some of the initiatives which we in the Government of India are taking to ensure that the systems of medicine, which we call as our heritage, which we have inherited from centuries of knowledge and practice, these systems are served by way of promoting a healthcare which has a large outreach, which ensures quality and safety, and therefore serves the humanity at large. Ladies and gentlemen, I will dwell upon briefly on the background of my presentation, and that is to say that in the present world, it's been recognized that a single system of medicine is not enough, and one always talks of pluralistic healthcare. During the last 2.5 days of presentations, you would have been exposed to this in great deal, but I thought even at the risk of repetition, let me just quickly go over this. So it's as a part of the national health policy, it's been recognized that we have to have pluralistic healthcare, and no one system is enough to take care of all the health dimensions, which are already very large, and every passing day you come up with new problems, new disease conditions, and therefore one has to strive for newer solutions. The National Health Policy in 1983 also recognizes promotion of Indian systems of medicine, namely Ayurveda, Yoga, and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. And therefore, as I said, as a part of the pluralistic healthcare system, integrate modern systems and indigenous systems of medicine. In 2005, Government of India launched as an effort towards increasing outreach of health program in the form of National Rural Health Mission, with the objective of improving the availability of and access to quality health care by people, and mainstreaming of Ayush, revitalizing of local health tradition. This is a critical component to the National Rural Health Mission, and in Government of India, Ministry of Health, we are trying to see and integrate the rural health care right down to the village level. There are efforts going on, there are programs being formulated so as to reach to the lowest level at the village. Now, when we talk of healthcare through Indian systems of medicine, of which Ayurveda is the most prominent, one cannot ignore the overall worldview where, as per the WHO, the traditional systems of medicine provide healthcare to something like 80% of the population, particularly in poor and developing countries. Now also, medicinal plants are important because they are a part of the rich biodiversity that we have in this world. Rich biodiversity of which we in India also have important areas, particularly in the Western Ghats and the Northeast. Medicinal plants are also important from the point of view of they being raw material for the traditional alternative systems of medicine, which are largely plant-based. And that's why when we talk of medicinal plants here, it is in the context of the Ayurveda being largely dependent on plants as their source of raw material. Even in the modern systems of medicine, something like 25% of the modern drugs are estimated to be from the plants. Also, medicinal plants are critically important in the context of livelihood, because large section of our population still depend on medicinal plants by way of collection, by way of semi-processing and marketing. Now, what are India's strengths? The fact that we have an Ayurveda which is 5,000-year-old is not just out of nothing. I think it largely is because we are endowed with resources, natural resources, something like 47,000 plant species, of which 15,000 are recorded to have medicinal value. About 7,000 to 8,000 are known to be used in folk systems of medicine, including the documented systems like Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy. We have 16 agroclimatic zones. That shows the kind of biodiversity we have, the kind of agroclimatic diversity we have, which gives us the biodiversity that we have. The system is supported by about 7 lakh qualified Ayush practitioners and about something like 9,000 pharmacies. So these are the kinds of strength and infrastructure we have, and it is therefore, in order that we need to take advantage of this into planning of programs for our medicinal plant sector, which, as I said, is very intimately linked to the outreach and quality of the Ayurveda systems. When we talk of the Indian systems of medicine, we need to realize that as opposed to the modern drugs, modern allopathic medicines, more than 90% of our formulations are plant-based, most of which are polyherbal. That increases the challenge for scientific validation, because in the present context, the Western world and the world at large now increasingly insists upon scientific support, scientific validity to all that we have been saying, all that our texts say, and this poses greater challenge. More than 90% of the plants are even now sourced from the wild, and that is another major challenge, because the forests for various regions are decreasing day by day for various regions, and therefore meeting the demand of raw material for the Ayush products is that much more challenging. Also, the fact that we have such a huge biodiversity, and despite the kind of infrastructure we have of research and other academic institutions, the ecological, genetic, and chemical variability that we have in our biodiversity is not adequately mapped. It is these challenges that we hope to address through our policies and programs in the Medicinal Plants Board. And it is precisely to handle these challenges that Government of India in 2000 set up a Medicinal Plant Board, which is headed by the Health Minister, and the mandate being to coordinate with various stakeholders. That includes state governments, industry, central government, cultivators, growers, researchers, and all those who have some stake in the sector, consumers. Coordination with all stakeholders for assessment of demand and supply position within the country and abroad, advise concerned ministries and departments on policy matters, provide guidance in the formulation of proposals, schemes, and programs, identification, inventorization, quantification of medicinal plants, promotion of ex situ in situ cultivation programs, promotion of cooperative efforts among collectors and growers. This is key because it is the different stakeholders where collectors and growers and as well as the manufacturers and traders need to be networked. Setting up database for inventorization and dissemination of information. Matters related to imports and exports. It is here that we have been coordinating with Ministry of Commerce, EPIDA, with Farmexcel and other councils in the Ministry of Commerce. Quality and standardization, R&D and cost effectiveness studies. A lot of R&D efforts is required in the shape of developing cultivation practices, agro techniques, and various other scientific studies. It is through the various agriculture universities, R&D institutions like CSIR labs. That is the effort that goes into coordinating with these agencies. Development of protocols for cultivation and quality control, protection of patent rights and IPR. Now, what is it that we have worked out by way of strategy? Realizing that 95% of the plants are still sourced from the wild, there are also pressures on the wild populations in terms of the certain populations going critically at the endangered level or threatened level. The important component of our strategy is to focus on forest areas for inventorization, for documentation of the biodiversity of medicinal plants, and therefore developing sustainable harvesting protocols, developing sustainable management packages, survey and inventorization, documentation of ethnobotanical studies, and documentation of ethnobotanical knowledge, documentation of local health tradition, because these are critical areas, and through documentation and further research study into these, that one is able to get leads into a lot of discoveries which could be path-breaking in future. Research and development, information, education, and communication. You will agree that this is an area which requires a lot of education, a lot of information, a lot of capacity building at the grassroots level. If we want to encourage farmers, growers into medicinal plants, there is a lot of capacity building, a lot of training that is required in terms of good practices for agriculture, good practices for collection, good practices for harvesting, etc. And our effort has been to promote this as one of the major activity. Marketing and value addition is key, because unless cultivation is backed up with credible marketing and value addition support, cultivation will not take off. Cultivation of prioritized species. We have to prioritize species. We have done that, and I'll go over to that list a little later, with a view to the requirement of the industry, with the requirement of the Ayush industry, as well as trade. And standardization and quality assurance. Today's consumer is very conscious of quality. Unless we ensure quality of the product that consumer uses, nobody is going to buy the product. Increasingly it is so. And the quality of the end product, as you all realize, depends upon the quality of the raw material. In order to do this, we have largely two categories of schemes. One is a promotional scheme where we provide 100% funding for activities like in situ conservation, ex situ conservation, creation of herbal gardens of identified species which are otherwise threatened in the wild, endangered in the wild, research and development through various institutes like CSIR institutes like CMAP, ICR institutes, agriculture universities, standardization and quality assurance. Towards this, we have been trying to develop agro techniques, developing protocols for storage, developing protocols for sustainable harvest in the forest, capacity building, as I've already mentioned, market access, demand and supply studies, that is another area which we have been trying to do. Another set of schemes is commercial, where we provide assistance to the farmers for cultivating medicinal plants that they can grow on their farmlands through assistance from us and also for value addition. These are the species prioritized. You will all agree these are the species which are in demand in the industry. They are critical to the Ayush industry, Ayurveda industry, and therefore we have prioritized them for cultivation as well as for conservation effort. So there are 32 species. This list was drawn a couple of years ago, and based on the experience, based on the inputs from Ayurvedic industry, based on the inputs from others, we are constantly revisiting this list so that we are able to keep abreast with the developments, with the requirements that change with the times, and this has been possible through dialogue with ADMA and other agencies, and hopefully we'll be able to come out with prioritized list of plants which are not generic in the sense that I have presented, but where we require focus on conservation, species that are required for to be targeted for cultivation, and likewise. So in times to come, we would like to revisit this list. Also, presently we are giving financial assistance uniformly across the board. We are in the process of revising this and targeting subsidy to species that are critical from the point of view of conservation, so that we send from the board a message that we are for conservation. We're also targeting species that are presently being imported. Large number of species are presently being imported for use in our products. We would like to target that also. Now, this is the kind of budget, something like 500 million this year. Let me also share with you that during the 11th plan, we are almost at the close of the 10th plan. Although this figure doesn't appear to be very huge, but during the 11th plan, we hope to jack up this to something like, at least 5 to 6-fold increase we are expecting. So with that, we hope to increase the coverage and scope of the program. These are the major species that are under cultivation. Very few, because cultivation, as you will all agree, happens through farmers, and farmers will grow only those species for which there is a ready market, which are short rotation. Now, this is the kind of effort that has gone into this so far. We have done something like 50,000 acres under in situ conservation, something like 9,000 acres under herbal gardens, and something like 90,000 acres under cultivation. Having said that, what we have done is this, I would also like to share with you the areas of concern. Quality assurance, as you all agree, is the key area, because we are the large the bulk of it is collected from the wild. The problem is not enough skills are available at the grassroots level. Also, not enough facilities are available at the grassroots level for correct harvesting methods, correct harvesting practices, proper storage godowns, and therefore, we are given to understand that something like 20 to 30% of the produce that goes into industry gets rejected because it's of poor quality, it's suffered in quality during this process from collection to harvesting. Our effort is towards addressing these issues. Scientific validation would have been talked about, because Ayurveda, if you want to make worldwide acceptance, if you want to have, then you need to scientifically validate. Standardization is another area. Also, monograph on medicinal plants. What we have felt is that if we want to register our products abroad, we must have detailed monographs prepared. Unfortunately, comprehensive monographs that would be acceptable to the world community at large are not available yet. And our effort is towards doing this. Also, you also know that there are also concerns like, regulatory regimes in countries like European Union. This would have been talked about in earlier session, I hope. And therefore, those issues need to be addressed for globalization of Ayurveda. Now, these are the kinds of initiative I already mentioned while speaking a little while ago, that we hope to give substantial outlays in the 11th plan so that we are able to increase the coverage and scope of the program. Because what we have done so far, let me admit, is minuscule. A lot of effort needs to go into this through various programs and schemes that we would like to take up, and we are working towards that. We hope to set up during the 11th plan something like 200 medicinal plant conservation areas. There is some experience in the south, and we want to extend this north of Vindhyas to have large medicinal plant conservation areas identified in forest areas, which are habitats of medicinal plants. From the point of view of their criticality to certain habitats, from the point of view of their criticality to certain products in the Ayurveda. And this is another major effort which we hope to take up. Herbal gardens is another area, because large number of species are there, which are, the populations are going down in the wild. Our effort will be to have ex situ conservation. Species like Ashok, species like Chandan, these are the species which are virtually not available in the wild, and we need to launch effort. We recognize this as a critical need. We would like to launch effort towards this. Community home and herbal gardens. We believe that we need to involve community, we need to involve all the households, we need to involve school children right at the formative stages, and therefore we would like to launch these schemes will largely in the nature of promotion, in the nature of awareness creation, so that we create this awareness among school children right at the beginning. I am happy to say that we have recently launched school herbal garden scheme in Delhi. We wish to take up this school herbal garden scheme all over the country during this year, something like 1,000 schools, and hope to extend this during the next plan. We, as I've already mentioned, we would like to take targeted, cultivation, subsidy which is targeted to certain objectives like conservation objective, certain objectives like reduction on dependence on imports, and this is another area. Also, as I mentioned, there are certain medicinal plants, particularly trees, which cultivation doesn't promote. Because farmers, growers would be interested in quick returns. They are not prepared to wait for 10, 15 years. And therefore, we have launched a special effort through Forest Department. It could be open to others also in times to come, where we would like to raise large-scale nurseries of medicinal trees, so as to address this issue of supply of tree-based medicinal plants as critical component to some of the Ayurvedic products. And this is another effort. We hope to raise something like 125 million trees during the next plan. During this year itself, we have targeted something like 20 million medicinal trees through forest departments and others. We are also, as you know, we have notified good manufacturing practices from the Department of Ayush. We are also in the process of evolving good agriculture and collection practices, because unless we do that, GMP alone will not suffice. We need to address the issues of good agriculture practices, good collection practices. We are in the process of evolving these for us. Also, independent and credible certification mechanism. This is what we wish to do during the next plan. I have already mentioned about the development of monographs. Traceability is another key parameter, because when we talk of quality, when we talk of sourcing of raw material and to ensuring its quality, we need to talk of traceability. And to address this issue with the cooperation of the industry, I must say, we wish to address this by making it mandatory for the industries to maintain records of sourcing of their raw material. Also, how much of it is cultivated, how much of it is collected, and where they have sourced it from. All these issues we hope to address. In fact, we've already moved in this direction, and soon this will become a requirement which all the industry will be required to comply. But I must also admit here that this will require a lot of cooperation from the industry. There will be some willing, some may not be very keen. But I think unless we do that, and the industry must also recognize that unless it becomes quality conscious, people will lose out in the race. Our products, we have seen in the recent past some of the products being rejected in some of the countries, and therefore it is inevitable that we take this issue on board and take quality as our prime objective to pursue. Unless we do that, I think we will be out of race. And therefore, we have flagged this as a key issue for the 11th plan. Countrywide demand and supply, we've already assessed. We had done one about 5 years back. We are doing that maybe another 3 months' time. We should have that report, because that we think is also necessary so as to know where we stand in terms of demand and supply, so that we can target our strategies accordingly in future. There is also another market study which is being done in external markets. That will address the issue of exports. That is being done through EPIDA. Medicinal plant processing zones is another initiative that we hope to take during the 11th plan, where right from collection to marketing, right from collection to processing, all these issues would be addressed synergistically. We hope to identify 5 to 6 areas where medicinal plant processing zones facilities could be set up, and the issue of creating a raw material base, creating facilities for processing are created in a holistic manner. So these are some of the initiatives. In this, we will require a lot of support, a lot of cooperation from the industry. We will also require support from the end users, the Ayurvedic practitioners, the consumers, so as to put pressure backwards for quality. Because unless there is a pressure from the consumer side for quality, the supplier side would be reluctant to address quality issue. And therefore, I think we all need to come together and see that we achieve what we seek to. With these words, I would like to thank you very much for patient hearing. Thank you very much.